Gun control has been a hot button issue for millions of Americans for years now, and it's easy to see why. One group is controlled by fear of being shot dead by a crazed gunman. The other, the fear of losing their constitutional right to defend themselves against that crazed gunman. But once you lose that first right, you will lose the others, especially when that right was designed to help the people protect their other rights. These two polarised positions have created friction and resentment of one another, pushing them further and further into their own entrenched opinions. But let's examine this from an outsider's perspective. Let's discuss the economy. According to the US debt clock, the US national debt is over $21 trillion. And given that absurdly large figure, the thought of a buyback scheme in a nation that has more guns than people isn't even worth considering. It won't just be the outward cost of buying back the guns that will have a damaging effect on the US economy either, as the gun and ammunition industry gives over 300,000 Americans jobs, and contributed over $50 billion to the economy in 2017. Now, you do need to weigh this against the cost gun violence has on the US economy, like the extra cost of police equipment. I can't seem to pin down any accurate estimates, as they vary wildly between $2.8 billion and $229 billion a year. But some of these figures don't factor in jail costs, and if you have someone mad enough to kill, you don't need a gun for that. A knife or even their bare hands will do the job nicely. And it's worth noting that gun control in the UK had very little to no impact on homicide rates. So I don't see the cost of policing or prisons dropping in any significant way. I'll link to the UK historical crime data for that down below. And on a side note, I'm almost certain that none of these statistics included the times that legal gun owners had stepped in and prevented crimes or mass shootings, saving the police resources. The Second Amendment to the Constitution is a very important document that's held at the heart of what Americans hold most dear. Freedom. You have the ability to defend yourself against a tyrannical government if the need ever arises. Which is why the argument, you don't need military-grade assault weapons, has always confused me. Surely to achieve that end, you'd need the equipment on par with what the government would use on you. Obviously fighter jets might be too far, but you get my point. And when it's all said and done, and the buyback scheme is found to be an unfeasible idea, what alternative do you have? Go door to door, raiding homes and removing guns, shooting those who resist? You'd be looking at massive casualties, because the American people are prideful and won't give up without a fight. In a worst case scenario, you could be looking at the beginning of a civil war. Let's not forget one of the factors of the American War of Independence against the British was their attempt to introduce gun control onto the American colonies. That is of course speculation on my part, but if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. And history shows gun control was tried on America before, to the devastating loss of tea in Boston Harbor. Don't let that kind of madness happen again. Uphold the Second Amendment. So, lovely viewers, what's the worst argument for gun control that you can come up with? I'll put the answers that make me laugh the most at the end of my next video, and as always, thank you for your time.